Good morning, friends. Welcome to Community Church of Boston. We light this candle of unity. We light this candle of joy. We light this candle of welcome to our open house. All welcome, as the banner behind me says, and we are so glad you're here. One little sad thing about this moment is that our speaker, Omali, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, is not going to be with us. He is ill. We have tentatively rescheduled for a couple weeks from today, but that's not for sure. Stay tuned, and we will hear from Omali. We were so excited about his testimony, and we look forward to hearing from him. If I stood out in the rain night, my only light a candle a million miles away, would you lay down your fire as I raised mine? Would you not kill again? And oh, when you're near me, oh my love, oh my joy, there's nothing ever to weary me, oh my darling one. We have a special treat this morning. Michael Shea, pianist extraordinaire of the improvisational jazz, mostly just elegant and stylish kind. I love it every time Michael is available to be with us. His other half this morning, Philani Haynes, was not able to get out of the house this morning because of all the intemperate weather that has hit us. But we will have Philani again soon with Michael. But now, half of that duo is expanded into the whole of a solo piano performer, playing on our piano, which we acquired maybe about 6 years ago, and it's always just a treasure and a delight to hear Michael Shea grace our piano in this auditorium at Community Church of Boston. Folks, welcome Michael Shea. Michael. This is going to be the first time we've ever done something together, but this is an anthem that I love to sing at Community Church. It's by our friend Jim Infantino, lives a few blocks from here, and it's a rewriting of a famous left anthem that's called the Internationale. This one is called International, and let's do it. We've not even practiced it, but I have a chart in front of Michael, and Michael, you're the best. Here goes. See what it sounds like. Rise up, you lonely wanderers. Rise up, you hungry people. The hurricane is coming. The land will soon be flooded. The past is dead and over. Rise up and claim your freedom. You are the sleeping giant. Arise, arise, arise. Do not beg for your salvation from preachers, kings, and masters. The people hold the power. Arise and claim your freedom. The wealthy enjoy privilege only at your acquiescence, only while you stay in darkness. Arise, arise, arise. Because in the end, freedom will be international. While politicos divide us, they demand their compensation. We should pray we don't refuse them. Arise and claim your freedom. The powerful and wealthy, they are only human beings. On earth we are all equal. Arise, arise, arise. While all of us were sleeping, the bank owners got richer at the expense of all our children. Arise and claim your freedom. They are frightened by our numbers and by our interdependence. Only while you stay in darkness. Arise, arise, arise. Here we go. Because in the end, freedom will be international. Do not numb yourself with purchases or vain overconsumption. Do not isolate your spirit. Arise and claim your freedom. Your TV and your iPhone seek to keep you in your slumber. Step out into the sunrise. Arise, arise, arise. Rise up, you lonely wanderers. Rise up, you hungry people. The hurricane is coming. The land will soon be flooded. The past is dead and over. Rise up, you, claim your freedom. You are the sleeping giant. Arise, arise, arise. Because in the end, freedom will be. Because in the end, freedom will be international. Jim Infantino is having his 60th birthday bash, and I'll be part of it on, February 18th or so. Join us for that. Hey, a couple of things coming up before we hear a little special clip. We're winging it this morning, and if there are folks in the Zoom or the YouTube who would like to chime in and make this a conversation instead of a preachment, please raise your hand and we'd love to hear from you. You know, the whole thing is we have some things we'd like to share with you, especially the music of Michael Shea, but a few other things as well. I want to tell you that February 23rd is next Sunday, and we have Professor Michael Burawoy from UC San Francisco. I'm sorry, Berkeley, UC Berkeley, and he has written a book about Du Bois. This Sunday is always the W.E.B. Du Bois address, and this one is called W.E.B. Du Bois and the Question of Palestine, which is for this moment in history. Obviously, as you all, I'm sure, have kept up with what's going on there. I was thinking the day before yesterday, Valentine's Day is the alternative to Be My Valentine, and that is Free My Palestine. So join us for next Sunday's W.B. Du Bois address. The musician is named Cliff Notes. He's a professor at Berkeley College of Music, and he is a hip-hopper and rapper, and also calls himself a mother folker as well. So check out Cliff Notes next Sunday. The Sunday after that, unfortunately, was had a cancellation. Louis Randa was going to join us March 2nd. But we will hear from him later in the year. He was going to talk about native land reparation, what you can do. Louis is a magnificent inspiration to us from what used to be the Peace Abbey, what is now the Peace Abbey Foundation. And he has done a bunch of just wonderful initiatives for peace and justice throughout his long career here in the city of Boston. I'll tell you also that we have we're almost done with this newsletter. It's amazing, which means that it's time to put together another newsletter, which will go out soon. If you do not receive this newsletter on paper and would like to, be in touch with us either by phone or by email, and we'll put you on our list. Also, emails go out announcing upcoming programs. And, you know, I want to tell you about a couple of things. A wonderful article just came out in the Harvard Crimson. A journalism student, she thinks that's what she wants to do, and I encourage her to do that, but she's still majoring in philosophy and something else not related to journalism. But she wrote this beautiful article. She spent a lot of time over here, and it's about community church and our connection to the Sacco and Vanzetti case, and especially about the third floor Sacco and Vanzetti archives that we have, and that Jerry Kaplan has spent 3 years of his life as a retired person basically curating and organizing those archives. And anyway, this article, we'll put the link in the chat and encourage you to read it. It's just really wonderful writing by Olivia Pasquarella, who is a junior at Harvard. I encourage you to read it, because she really did a thorough job of researching and interviewing and studying the archives, and it's a beautiful testament, and I'm really glad that it will be in our archives about the church and the history of the church. It's a rich trove. Every time I go up there, I find something. This one I want to tell you about is about Margaret Sanger, early advocate of birth control and women's rights. We're talking late 1800s, early 1900s. Margaret Sanger was invited to speak here, 1929, and the mayor, whose name was James Michael Curley, at that time forbid Margaret Sanger to speak in Boston. Or forbade, is that the right way to say it? We were meeting at Symphony Hall at that time, and it must have been a huge audience, but she sat on the stage with a mask over her mouth, and her address was read by Arthur Schlesinger Sr. I found this out because I looked it up on Wikipedia under Margaret Sanger. I was wanting to find out more about her. Very instrumental in the early development and advocacy of family planning and birth control. Was the founder of Planned Parenthood, and it's remarkable that that's what happened to her. Community Church, as you know, has aired lots of different opinions about issues. In 1973, we had, which is a year that Roe v. Wade was ruled on. We had an opinion, a contrary opinion by Meredith. What's her last name? She was the first African-American surgeon in Brigham and Women's Hospital, and she was very much against women's choice. And she gave an address at Community Church, and it's just a testament to all opinions welcomed. And we don't subscribe to every opinion, and there are people that subscribe to others who are part of our congregation. I just loved that image of an important voice sitting on the stage with her mouth covered with a like she's been silenced. But the address spoken by Arthur Schlesinger Sr., who I don't know much about. The Junior was the one who was Kennedy's advisor and important historian as well. Need to find out more about that. The archives of Community Church are a beautiful introduction into the history of the 20th century, especially, just from a different perspective. We're hoping someday to really spend the time that we need to give those archives the love that they deserved, or else send them to a repository that can really do that for us. We're not sure which. So I wanted to tell you about that article in the Crimson. Also we want to play a tribute to Joan Livingston. Our friend David Rovics, who appears here sometimes several times a year, because he has so many songs about some of the issues that we are so passionate about. But he wrote a really beautiful tribute to Joan, and we want to hear it. He also put it on audio, and here it is. We send this out in memory of Joan Livingston Presente, and we send it out as a gesture of unending love for Joan's partner, Charlie Welch, who is with us this morning. Hi, Charlie. This is for you.
Remembering Joan S. Livingston. You can find this missive in both written and podcast forms on Substack, on Patreon, at davidrovics.com/thisweek, and in podcast form if you look up This Week with David Rovics, wherever you get your podcasts. I just learned belatedly that the wonderful and brilliant woman on the left of this photo, which is the cover of this podcast, Joan S. Livingston, died last month at the age of 70. This photo is from December 1st, 2024, last time I was in Boston, playing at the Community Church of Boston, where I had seen her on so many occasions previously. Many people knew Joan far better than me, and for much longer. Her involvement with anti-war organizing and other such pursuits goes way back. I hesitate to even write this because it seems a bit self-indulgent. I did know Joan in 3 dimensions and saw her in person on most of my annual pilgrimages to Boston over the past more than a decade. But Joan was probably my biggest fan on Facebook. She was very active on the platform, and that is really mainly how I knew her. It was through this medium that I had by far the most contact with her, through this medium that I received the most praise, and on this medium that I was regularly quoted in reference to news of the day. It was also on this medium that Joan engaged in the most arguments with those who did not share her positions on U.S. imperialism, Jill Stein's presidential campaigns, or programming decisions at the church. Somewhere along the line, I learned that when someone tags you on Facebook, you have control over whether their post shows up on your page and might theoretically be more likely to be seen by your friends and followers. I found that function to come in handy in relation to Joan's tags. Although she was often sharing interesting insights, history as well as praise, it regularly came together with digs at people I didn't necessarily want to be associated with publicly insulting. Particularly in these latter days of the platform, you can see that the links Joan was sharing on Facebook were getting no engagement. Hardly anyone was seeing them by all appearances. But just following the timeline of posts Joan made where she tagged me is a fascinating and poignant walk down memory lane. The first was in the fall of 2011, when she appears to have discovered my music via the song I wrote for Occupy Wall Street. The last was the morning of the day she died, commenting about peace in Gaza on January 15th, 2025. Joan and I shared almost 300 friends in common on Facebook, including many of the most impressive organizers, whistleblowers, writers, musicians, the usual suspects, in other words. But one of the most impressive cross-sections of them, of anyone on the platform that I've known. One of the few where there are even more friends in common is with Jeffrey St. Clair, the editor of Counterpunch, which Joan appears to have read regularly. The past 10 years have featured a lot of time spent on social media for a lot of people around the world, and Joan was most definitely one of them. I'm sure in her case, being in and out of the hospital with a chronic illness much of that time, unable to get around easily, made sure she'd spend a lot of time online. Just from the occasions when she tagged me over these years, I can confidently tell you some things about Joan's interests and passions. She had a lot to say about Syria and all the various global powers involved with the civil war there. The song of mine that she posted most often in relation to Syria was probably Good Kurds, Bad Kurds. She was very critical of both Democrats and Republicans and denounced them all frequently as war criminals. She loved my songs denouncing the Democrats, and she shared my critique of our corrupt pseudo-democracy completely. The song she pointed to most often regarding this conversation was probably Jill Stein, who she supported with vigor and eloquence. She was horrified by Israeli apartheid and Israel's wars on Gaza, and frequently shared songs about that over the years. She supported Edward Snowden, Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, and all the other whistleblowers. She knew a lot about history. She did not believe the official story about the JFK assassination, nor did she believe that Dag Hammarskjöld's death was accidental. She loved music for music's sake, but also as a vehicle for communicating the messages she desperately wanted the world to hear and to internalize and act upon, about the bipartisan American empire of death and destruction that she spoke out against daily online, as well as in the real world on regular occasions, particularly before she got sick. She had a deep affection for so many of the same contemporaries I admire, all Facebook friends of both of ours, who received Joan's praise in some of the same posts where she shared my songs. People like Ray McGovern, Margaret Flowers, the late Glenn Ford, the late Kevin Zeese. When I first met Joan, she mentioned something about brain cancer and how she didn't expect to live very long. So I was always extra happy to see her turn up at the next show whenever I was in Boston again. There were at least a couple of occasions when I got word from her or from someone else that she wasn't well and had to stay home or in the hospital on the night of my show, You can find these posts on her timeline as well, where she's apologizing to her comrades for not going to my show, but encouraging them to go anyway. Then the next time I'd come to Boston, she'd be there, looking a bit more frail than the last time, but still standing. Until she's not. Following in the same footsteps the rest of us will be walking in, with far too many of us meeting our ends well before we reach the average age for this eventuality. And on that cheery note, here's to Joan. As for Facebook, the one person on the platform who could be relied on to point out if there's a Rovix song related to a current news event will no longer be posting. And what was already a moribund platform will now be a bit more so. Though it will also be a nominally calmer one, with slightly few arguments about Syrian politics getting certain people riled up.
You're sitting there in front of me, floating in a cloud. Your chocolate eyes meet mine, you're whispering out loud. Thoughts that make me shiver, words that make me melt. And I can only be thankful for the deal I have been dealt. For the birds outside this window, for this guitar on my knee, for the smile on your lips, for the good you found in me. Looking at the wood stove and the towels upon the sink, with your fingers on my forehead, all that I can think is life is beautiful. For the way you kiss my fingers, for the way you hold my hands, for the way you look in those leather pants, for the times like now when I just gotta roll another smoke, breathe deeply for a moment, and take another toke. Life is beautiful. It's over and the afternoon is done, we can spend the evening dreaming of the rising of the sun. And even when the shadows look me right in the eye, I feel your heart within my belly like the stars up in the sky. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful.
Thank you, David Rovix. I had not heard that song at the end. It's a beautiful tribute to Joan. Joan loved baseball caps, and I want to get Charlie to bring in a bunch of her caps, Vets for Peace. There's one that I gave her that is embroidered BDS, and I want to bring in a few more when we have a tribute for her on March 1st. It's a Saturday evening. We have two events that day. During the day, it's a symposium on health in Gaza, brought to us by Mass Peace Action, MAPA. And so if you want to join us for both those events, but especially for Joan, we'll be remembering her that night with her hats. And I point out this hat especially. It says USS Liberty, which is something that Joan knew a lot about and talked about a lot. And I want to find out more about. Philip Turney is a soldier, a Navy sailor who was on the USS Liberty in 1967 when it was bombed and torpedoed by the Israeli military, Air Force and Marine or Navy, and killed 40 U.S. servicemen and injured another 100. And the intent was to sink it, but it did not sink. It was towed away. The intent was to make it a false flag operation that would make it seem like Egypt had committed the deed, and further U.S.'s involvement in what then was the Six-Day War. We will hear more. We will be hosting Philip in the month of May, I believe it is. I don't have the date in front of me, but he has agreed to speak, and I hope you will join us. I looked for Philip's books online, and they were out of stock everywhere, but I found this one, written by James Scott, Attack on the Liberty. And there's more books about the USS Liberty that we can find out about. Let me tell you about a couple other things coming up as well. Amar, please tell us, what date is Dennis Fritz and Larry Wilkerson?
April 11th.
That is a Friday, April 11th. Join us here in person. These two really marvelous retired service people, government people. One of them was Colin Powell's chief of staff. The other one is a military man who was in the White House quite a bit. I couldn't tell you completely his bio, but I had a copy of his book here, which somebody took and has not returned. You know who you are out there. Shame on you. I'm wanting to have it so I can read it before he joins us on Friday, April 11th. We also, in the month of April, we're just putting the newsletter together, have Jill Stein. We have a special last Sunday of April, Sunday about on the topic of labor in preparation for May Day, which comes right after that. And I'm not remembering all the rest of the speakers, but we have another one to remind you of, Chaz Freeman, April 18th. And these are really some marvelous speakers that we thank Amar for lining up for us, and the speakers that garner enormous attention to our YouTube channel. Check them out and give them a listen. Both the complete speech as well as the different clips that Amar has put up for us to enjoy, and for many thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of more to watch online. Michael Shea. Oh, wait. Wow. At the March 10th, Representative Ro Khanna. That's a big one. Almost every 10th of the month, we feature an event that is based on commemorating the speech by John F. Kennedy on June 10th, 1963. And we show that we air the speech, and then we have a special speaker join us. And and in March, coming right up, is Representative Ro Khanna. Any other of those, Amar, have been scheduled yet?
March 10th, April 10th will be Jody Evans of Code Pink.
April 10th, Jody Evans of Code Pink.
June 10th, which is the 62nd anniversary of JFK's speech,
June 10th, which is the 62nd anniversary of JFK's speech, we have Jeffrey Sachs. This is just a marvelous lineup of additional speakers at Community Church. So do join us. And meanwhile, we get to celebrate the elegance, grace, and style of the piano playing of Michael Shea. That's Michael Shea, folks. Thank you so much. Just beautiful, beautiful. I want to share something I like to share a lot. Eduardo Galeano, Children of the Days. I'll find February 16th to read to you. I haven't read it yet, but it's always an amazing surprise to hear from Eduardo Galeano. I have at home in the basement an entire tub of books by Eduardo Galeano. I'm kind of a man obsessed. Not only several different editions of different books, but also both in English as well as in Spanish. Some of his books I've read, like both at the same time, watching the translations, and there's one translator who I especially like, who actually spoke at Community Church, and his name was, it'll come to me in a minute. He was a guy who was blacklisted in the 50s and moved to Cuernavaca, Mexico, and had a career as a Spanish teacher and translator. And his name will come to me in a moment. But meanwhile, I will read February 16th from Eduardo Galeano, Children of the Days. It's called The Condor Plan. Macarena Gelman was one of the many victims of Operation Condor, the common marker of terror that linked South America's dictatorships. Macarena's mother was pregnant with her when the Argentine generals sent her to Uruguay. The Uruguayan dictatorship oversaw the birth, killed the mother, and handed the newborn daughter to a police chief. Throughout her childhood, Macarena was tormented by the same inexplicable nightmare. She was being chased by several men armed to the teeth, and night after night she would wake up crying. The nightmare stopped being a mystery when Macarena discovered the true story of her life. That was when she realized she had been dreaming her mother's real panic. While Macarena was taking shape in the womb, her mother was fleeing the military witch hunt that caught up with her in the end and sent her to her death. This is, of course, a telling of what happened in the entire southern cone during the late 60s, early 70s, the dictatorships of Uruguay, Argentina, Chile, and Brazil. Horrible period of history. Eduardo Galeano. I'm thinking of contributing my collection of Eduardo Galeano books to Community Church, but I have to find some kind of a committee to decide whether they want them or not. We have too many books already, but the more the merrier if they're of a certain kind of amazingness. I want to do a song with Michael. This one is called "Answer the Call." I don't know if you can see it in the backdrop, but there's one poster that says "Climate change is real," and the other one underneath it that says "The dinosaurs never saw that asteroid coming. What's your excuse?" It's right over there. Look over that way. Yeah. Seeing as all of the references to climate change have been scrubbed from all of the government websites, we need to get the word out every time we can and do whatever we can. This is written by my friend Deborah Silverstein, who lives in Asheville, North Carolina. In the Milky Way, on a spiral arm, our solar system. This is no false alarm. Heed the call and listen. Shout it from the mountaintop, write it on the wall. The warning signs are loud and clear. Answer the call. Answer the call. Forest green and ocean blue, this is our only home, our cosmic birthright. Hide, shout it from the mountaintop, write it on the wall. The warning signs are loud and clear. Answer the call. Answer the call. Billions of creatures great and small roam across her surface. Believe it or not, we can save it all, or we could shut down the circus. Ha 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 ha, shout it from the mountainside, write it on the wall. The warning signs are loud and clear. Answer the call. Answer the call. Mothers, daughters, fathers, sons, your hand is on the lever. Our chance will not come again. It's truly now or never. It's now or never. Shout it from the mountaintop, write it on the wall. The warning signs are loud and clear. Answer the call. Answer the call. Shouted from the mountain top. Write it on the wall. The warning signs are loud and clear. Answer the call. Answer the call. Deborah Silverstein. I said Stein, but it's Steen. Deborah Silverstein. We are having a little short event here because our speaker had to postpone. He is not feeling well. Omali Yeshitela lives in St. Louis. I urge you to look up their story. They're called the Uhuru African Liberation Party, and they're both a political party and a movement, and they have chapters in several different cities, and they have been seriously persecuted by the government under Joe Biden, and accused and then absolved of being agents for the Russian government. Foreign agents, you heard about that, right? And foreign agents are supposed to register, and they hadn't registered, and they put up something that was favorable to Russia. The elephant in the room has to do with another certain country who needs to sign up as a foreign agent, and that is Israel. AIPAC, that basically owns Washington, has never signed up as a foreign agent. But that's just my take on it. Stay tuned for when we will have Omali join us again when he's feeling better. It might be on March 2nd, but I'm not positive yet. We haven't confirmed that, but we have offered them that date. And that's something really to look forward to it, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. Check it out, both on our website. Our Facebook page has invitations to these events. Our paper newsletter that you can get delivered to you if you just be in touch with us, or come on in here and sign up for the paper newsletter or the e-newsletter. We also always need your support. We count on your support. I want to tell folks that we used to, at this time of the year, send out statements of thank you and the amount of support for you to deduct on your taxes if you do that routine. We found out that we no longer have to send out that paper document, and just want to tell you, if you would like a document from us, please request it either from our office or from me personally, and we will send you an acknowledgement. Otherwise, it's sort of all gone to the electronic realm, and we are so grateful to so many of you who have made this thing keep going as best it can in our 2 years of really difficult times with no tenant on the first floor. We're very happy to announce that will soon change. We have signed a lease with a company that's called All'Antico Vinaio, and they are an Italian chain of sandwich shops that have a very, very wonderful product, elegant sandwich. It's a bakery that's constantly putting out fresh bread straight out of the oven and putting them on a sandwich. It's a long flat bread that they cut the ends off, and they cut 8-inch squares from the rectangle, and they fill it with prepared meats and prepared cheeses from Italy and arugula and toppings, and it's a really lovely thing, and we're looking forward to that restaurant opening hopefully early this summer. We have signed a lease. We've gotten a deposit from them. We have architectural plans that are being discussed by our architect and their architect and our engineers. And it's an exciting moment that will hopefully be an end to our really difficult couple of years that we've had here. So I just say that as introduction to let you know that we have on our website a PayPal or credit card option for you to donate, or you can do the old-fashioned one, which I like to do, which is write a check and bring it to us here, or send it to 565 Boylston Street, Boston 02116 in Copley Square. The other great thing is that it looks like Copley Square is going to reopen. It's been cyclone fenced for almost 2 years. The same 2 years that we've been closed and for rent sign on our front. The whole Copley Square has been in renovation and dug up, and lots of heavy machinery over there. So we really look forward to seeing what it's going to look like when they reopen. We want to thank you for joining us, and maybe we'll close out with another number from Michael, and then maybe I'll sing us out at the very end with Michael. Michael Shea, very glad you joined us, and we're looking forward to seeing you again with Fulani, who is our purveyor of all things elegant, gracious, and stylish. Fulani Haynes, if you're joining us online, we send you greetings, and we're sure that the next Sunday we schedule you for, there'll be a better chance for you to get out your door and down the steps to a ride that will be waiting for you, and you will be brought here in the style and comfort in which you are accustomed. We have somebody who wants to make an announcement or say hello?
Yeah, Charlie.
Charlie. Charlie, do join us.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I wanted to thank David Rovics for his excellent
Yes.
tribute to Joan. And it's, any one life you got so many sides to it, but he captured a bunch of them. And I'm grateful for him. This will be posted on her Facebook thing. And if you're on Facebook, that was, again, Joan's primary way of communicating. She had 3,500 friends. And the tribute to her from Community Church will be, as Dean mentioned, in 2 weeks. We still haven't set the exact time, but it'll be in the evening, probably 6 or 7. And the announcement of that will be later today when I get you a chance to talk to a couple of people about it. But you're more than welcome to come or participate or join by Facebook. And then there's one other thing I want to say. I'm almost embarrassed to bring this up, but there's next Saturday, there's a program called, the title of it is Moving Forward, Backward Never. And the intent of it is to honor a couple of longtime activists in the Boston area, including Surin Modilar of E5 fame, and Kazi Toure, and Dorotea Manuela, and last but not least, me.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to be a week from today, Sunday, February 23rd, from 5 to 8 at the North American Indian Center of Boston. And that's on 105 South Huntington Avenue. And there's announcements for it on the easiest place to find it is on the E5 Facebook events page, but it's copied a couple of other places, including the ACMA Facebook page. And if you need more information, you can contact me, or I'll put some more information about it in the chat.
Yes.
Thanks again for the tribute to Joan, David, and I'll leave it at that. Bye.
Thank you, Charlie. That's really wonderful tribute event that's going to happen next Saturday. NICOB, North American Indian Center of Boston. It's on South Huntington Avenue, right across from the VA hospital. It's a facility they've had for a really long time, and I look forward to that event. I just found out about it last night, and it looks just great. Kazi Toure and Charlie and Seren and Dorotea. Those are some upstanding, wonderful lights in our community and our movement worth honoring. That should be a magnificent event next Saturday.
Actually, Dean, it's Sunday. Sunday the 23rd.
Sunday evening, the 23rd.
Yes.
Okay, Sunday the 23rd at the NICOB. We look forward to that very much. Let's have Michael take it out for us, and then we'll do a song together, and we'll say goodbye to you. Too bad you're not here, because we're having an early lunch pretty soon. And thank you again, Michael Shea, for braving the elements and being down here with us today. Thank you, Michael.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Oh yeah,
What you gonna sing?
one more. Let's do Noni Stealth.
Okay.
It's
Are we gonna
in
sing the
E?
key of E?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
It's basically bum bum ba dum bum ba ba do 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 do. I don't know if I'm on the right key. In between each verse, there's a verse. of instrumental. And, oh, yeah. Here's how it goes. We close out today with an old Southern hymn. This is called Noe's Dove, also known as Noah's dove, like the dove that he saw when the storm subsided. And the dove had the olive branch and storms of life around me rage, I hear my compass true. I'd fix my gaze on a higher stage where the sun shines bright and new. Consider the lilies of the field, neither reap nor do they sow. They stand revealed, unwrapped, unsealed for all the world to know. The sparrow sings his song of joy and flies with wondrous ease. Oh, would that I my gifts employ as do the least of these. Oh, give me the wings of Noe's dove and send me on my quest. I fly above to the land of love and take my promised rest. Oh, give us the wings of Noe's dove and send us on our quest. We'll fly above to the land of love and take our promised rest. Thank you all for being with us at Community Church. We'll see you next Sunday. All kinds of great programs coming up. Check out our Facebook page or our website to find the latest. And we'll see you next week, or the week after that, or on a weeknight. There's all kinds of things go on here. Extinction Rebellion meets here. Democratic Socialists of America meets here. So does Muslims for Progressive Values. We had a wonderful Veterans for Peace luncheon last Friday. Thank you all who came to that. And thank you to Luis Guzman, who's just preparing our luncheon for us. Thank you to Amar Ahmad, who did our live stream, and who does really wonderful programming for us. Oh, give us the wings of Noe's dove and send us on our quest. We'll fly above to the land of love and take our promised rest. We will take our promised rest. We will take our promised rest. We would take our promised rest, our promised rest. Ooh. Michael Shea, thank you for being with us.
Thank you